Imagine, again, what if there was an incredibly powerful mindset and tool which would take our connecting ability, our empathy ability, our ability to truly be heard, and it began with listening. And that powerful tool is add the word authentic to that, and you have the power in your heart and your mind. And it's one of the most powerful tools, we believe, in your toolbox, if you will, in this business that we love here with network marketing. So in this journey we're on as we build our team of servant leaders, guys, I want to welcome you back again. This is Robert at my home office in Granbury. Jim is there in his backyard up in beautiful Utah. Morning, Jim.
Good morning, everyone.
And we have Miss Beautiful Donna down in Pearland, Texas. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
Whenever I said Pearland, you heard that Pearland. I got into that accent there. So we want to welcome you guys. So remember the individual that when we bring this person into our life, into our business, it exponentially increases our power, our strength, our ability to move forward and attract the right people is this person. Dear Father, just thanks for joining us. Thanks for being in every fiber of our being, every fiber of our life, and help us look toward each and every day as a true miracle. And just thanks for all the countless blessings you pour into our lives and you pour into our business. Help us all be more authentic and heart-centered, contribution-focused servant leaders, wellness warriors. And we're just so blessed to be here on this beautiful day, and help us bring wisdom and clarity to each other and to anyone here who's joining us here this morning, in our teams and our leaders. In Christ's name we ask. Amen.
Amen. Wow. Thank you, Robert.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So, guys, our topic this week that we're kind of putting a bracket on here, hopefully an open-ended bracket. Remember, the invitation is to step into a place to become more masterful at this particular skill. And is it truly a skill, Jim and Donna, that we can learn?
Absolutely. In my opinion, it's just like anything. I remember taking piano lessons, and if I practiced, I could pass when I got to the lesson what it was that I was attempting to play. If I didn't practice, it was as if I hadn't practiced. And so, yes, practice makes perfect is a true statement, in my opinion. And because we're connecting, you connect when you listen, because people don't care what you have to say until they know you care about them.
Wow. What an interesting word. Connecting. So what does it mean to authentically connect then? So we use the word authentically listen. So what does connection mean to all of us, and why is it important? So Donna, when you think about truly connecting with another individual on a deeper level, what does that mean to you, and why?
To me, I guess when I'm connecting with them, like as you say, on a deeper level, I'm truly beginning to care about the needs of the other, and finding out what's important for them. I'm stepping away from my ego and what they might, what's for me, and putting the focus on what's for them, and finding common ground with that so that we can have a relationship rather than just just an acquaintanceship, if you will.
Wow.
Wow.
There's a lot of people that I'm acquainted with, but how many people have I truly connected with authentically and purposefully, not just, and when I say purposefully, I don't mean business wise, I mean just, do I have a connection where I want to be of service to them, and I want them to be around me. You know, it's a type of person I want in my life.
Wow. So beautifully said. I totally, you summarized everything. It is about them, not about me. In true connection, that's what they feel, because it's emotional connection as well as the art of listening, which is what we're kind of using in that connecting circumstance of how we're connecting is by listening. And truly, when we're listening, they get it, they feel it. And sometimes they'll unload more than you wanted to connect right then because of your timing. But at the same time, they feel free that they can talk to you and that you're going to listen to them. People want to be heard. They love to be heard because they know whoever that person who's taking that time out of their life in their space to listen truly cares about them. At least that's what they're feeling. People don't like to get got. They don't want to be sold anything. They want to be invited, and they want to do it with a friend. And friendship comes through connecting.
Wow. So I heard go from acquaintanceship, I think that's a new word we're all, Donna powerfully manifested, and then to relationship. Isn't that fun? Acquaintance, yeah, I know you in passing. I love you too. Is that really authentic? But remember, the only way to truly love somebody is to get to
serve them.
And before we can fully serve their needs, we have to get to know them. Yeah, exactly. So that's the whole point, isn't it, guys? Is yes. One of the reasons to build this skill, which will eventually become an art. How many of us would like to be an artist at listening and connecting? Yeah.
Ooh.
And as Jim said, I want, or I desire to be heard. I'm sure maybe both of you have heard this. I'm sure you have many times. Both of you are really have been on a personal growth journey. Anybody watching this has. And one of my mom was in Mary Kay Cosmetics, and one of the big things that Mary Kay Ash talked about all the time was everybody's, as Jim said, wearing this sign. I always see people on social media, on life, at the end of a text message, at the end of a Facebook message, at the end of a phone call, they're wearing this sign on their, right over their hearts. I want to be heard. And when we're aware of that, if that's our truth and we recognize it, what do we then do?
Listen.
Exactly. And the only way to fully listen is to kind of step out, as Donna said, our ego at times. Remember, ego is edging who out? Edging God out.
That's right.
And because God is, the essence of God is love.
Love. Yep.
And the essence of love is that deep understanding, isn't it? So anyway, and it starts with the biggest person to listen to is, it starts with, if you look me in the eyes this morning, who am I? And look at yourself. If you have a video, one of the exercises, I thought about this, guys, maybe you did too, and a baby step for some people to do that beautiful exercise that Jim talks about, which is profound. Remember, Jim calls it the mirror to the soul. And maybe a baby step for that, Jim and Donna, is to do it with ourselves in the mirror.
Wow.
And
yes.
Yeah.
So, guys, with your permission, how about at least a couple times? Because the first time we do it, I did it this week, and I got real close to the mirror, and I was looking at myself in the eyes. And at first, I heard my imposter a lot. I was looking myself in the eye and said, Robert, what are you thinking? What are you doing? All the, the imposter dialogue. And then I kept looking, and I realized, wow, you're flawed. You're perfectly imperfect. You're all that. And you're worthy anyway. God loves you anyway. I am worthy because he is worthy. And then I kept looking, and I said, Robert, you're a child of God, and you have this ability to really, step into who God made you to be. And so feed yourself. And you can I even talked out loud to myself. So whether it's inside your heart. So how about that as a baby step for people that maybe feel a little bit awkward initially getting right here with another person?
I love that challenge. I love that challenge. And you're right. It's awkward the first time you ever step that close to your own infinite worth, because you only have that imposter taking off. Oh, wow, you look a lot older than I imagined you were. Oh, yeah, all those wrinkles, and what a jar to the outside world when you step in. All of those imposter words, which are covered immediately if we can hang in there long enough to truly look. I am a child of God, and he does love me, and his grace is sufficient for me. And I am worthy of his blessings, which this abundant universe gives me if I will just be open to them and request his help. So beautiful thought. That is a great challenge for each of us to continue doing. In fact, this very day, get in front of a mirror, because I've done this before, but it's been a long time ago, of eye gazing into your own eyes. It's really tough if you can't love yourself to get above that or beyond that, because your cup's not full enough to give very many people much from your own cup if you don't have a self-love. And it's not selfish love, it's self-love of the fact that people like you. In fact, they love you, and they'll give back tenfold.
Yeah, I believe at least one of those times you did that, we were together at an event called Beyond Courage. We did that along with other activities. So guys, with your permission, let's also share some tools, some practical tools. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the practical tools is this. Now, let me refer to my notes. I say these inherently, but I want to kind of bring them home. Okay, and a couple of the tools that I want to just to share in a couple of minutes are a couple of key questions. Next week, we're covering the power and magic of asking masterful questions. That being said, one of the paths to authentic listening is to kind of open the door, to kind of pave the way for that person to then open up. So one of those tools is a question is, tell me more. Jim, let me go over to Donna, because Jim and I talk multiple times a day, which I so cherish.
Pop quiz.
I know, it's like
We love you, Donna. Thank you.
I connect with my brother all the time. I'm so grateful for that, and we're growing together. My goodness. So Donna, so you tell me that you would have a deep desire for this to be truly a unique vehicle and journey for you, and you tell me you have a desire to really break through with this new community, this new business. Can you tell me a little more about why now is different? Can you tell me a little more about why now is so important to you? Okay.
Well, now I've retired from my previous career, which didn't allow for the opportunity to share my previous business opportunity with people at my workspace. That was not a that was not permitted. So when you're working 12 hours, 15 hours a day at your job, and then you're not allowed to share the opportunity there, it leaves, it left very little time. And, I know we all make excuses and whatnot, but, I just wasn't in a space then, either physically or in my head, to take advantage of the opportunity as fully as I could have. Now I have time. I have great mentorship through you and Jim and everyone up the line. And I just think this is the right time for me.
Wow. And you mentioned that you really feel this is the right time. And I heard your heart saying, you felt like you had some, obviously like you're in a bubble. And in this bubble, you tried to break through because you really wanted to have those conversations. So again, so can you tell me a little more about why this is the right time? So see what I'm doing, guys? So what you do is, it's a great tool and it's a simple question. And Brandon Barber, one of the great coaches out there and mentors, he talks about this a lot. Can you tell me more? Can you tell me more? And I hear you, and I heard you. And part of the tool to go alongside tell me more is I hear, or I heard you say, and then put a blank in there. And these are simple tools, but again, they work. And you can use these same tools. Can you use these same tools on social media?
Yes.
Where are people putting how they feel, what they're celebrating, some of the pain they're going through? How do they do that publicly? On a post. So when you're reaching out to one market, people you're connected with on social media, all we simply have to do is look at their last week of their posts, or if they're really prolific, their last 2 days of posting. And if I go to Donna's page and she mentioned that, a grandbaby just had a birthday, and oh my goodness, I wanted to be there. I was working, or you see, there's all kinds of things we could take that down, and we could see that, and we could say, could you I just saw that you posted about your grandbaby. My goodness, how often do you get to see them? And they might say, well, not enough. And can you go to your toolbox? Could you tell me more about that? And another question I find myself asking a lot, and as I ask it more and more, especially in my prospecting and coaching for my customers, my other tool that I reach in my toolbox and grab all the time is, how does that feel? Or how does that make you feel? And I'm asking that all the time of people I'm either connecting with initially, inviting, following up with. If somebody says, Robert, oh my goodness, I just tried the shake and it's scrum delicious or yum delicious. And your question is, well, how does it make you feel to have something that tastes so darn good, that's so darn good for your body? And then zip it, and then listen. And then once they reply, what can you say? Could you tell me more about that? And then they say, well, yes, here's more about that. And then say, wow, I just heard you say that finally you're feeling more energy than you've had in months. So how does that feel? You see what we're doing? We're simply going and asking these are some simple tools that we could use to become more masterful at fulfilling the sign they're wearing. And the sign they're wearing says,
I want to be heard.
Yeah. And remember the other tool, it's the big one, the biggest one of all, in my opinion. Here it is. I'll draw it out for you. You ready? Here it is. Even makes a noise. See if I can draw an upside down here. Heart. What did I just draw? It's a blank, isn't it? And it's pausing, it's listening. How many times when you pause does your imposter step up and kind of screaming and knocking at your head until you practice it more and more? Initially, when we practice pausing, the imposter is so full of noise, and I call it the deceiver as well. Remember, the deceiver hates truth, and truth is also in discovering truth for people. And so when we practice pausing, at first it'll be real noisy inside, and after a while we'll get to the point when we practice pausing, and instead it'll be quiet inside of us because we're authentically listening, because we love this person and we want to know what's behind that sign. What does this person need? How can I serve this person? Powerful stuff, isn't it?
Very powerful.
So I'd love to get some opening thoughts or closing thoughts based on this topic this week. I just love this subject.
One that I could share about the pause. If we're so busy talking ourselves and listening to the imposter of what it is we think that voice is, we have not been able to listen to the truth of our heart, spirit, and even the Holy Spirit that will inspire. And that comes from exactly what you're saying. When we read scriptures, we're supposed to ponder and pray. Those are both big pauses. And then the inspiration will come, and then the understanding of what we're reading. Ponder what it is that we've just read. How does that apply to us? And very same, when we get used to that pause and listening to the people who are talking to us, we're going to hear things, we're going to feel things that sometimes when we're so busy chattering ourselves back with what we think they're going to say, or we're judging them, well, this is what you need, and this is why I think you're going to want to join me, and all of the reasons of them feeling like I got sold or I got versus I got invited, and I got invited by somebody I like because they like me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Jim. Donna?
Yeah, I just think that, the listening aspect, we so often think we're listening, but by asking these questions of, especially, that tell me more, but then the listening and being able to reply back with what you heard from them so that they can clarify if what you heard was really what they were trying to convey. I think that really lets them know, number one, you were paying attention to them. You were focused on them, and you were not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Wow.
How many times are we in a conversation with someone and you feel like they're just waiting for their turn to speak rather than listening to what you have to say? So I think these questions on, and asking and verifying what you heard back to them, and then waiting for them to respond again, shows them that yes, you are listening, you are interested in what they have to say, and you are coming from a place of caring and love, not from a place of, like Jim says, gotcha,
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Pretty powerful stuff. And here's an invitation as well, or suggestion, is when I first, people like Brandon and my other mentors, I got a recipe card, and I literally put this card up when I'm in my office and places I'm working. And so I could see it. And on that card literally was tell me more. And I heard you say, how does that feel? It was questions like this. It might not have been exactly these questions, but it was pretty much, it was tell me more. And then it was, I definitely wrote down, has a few, I wrote down about 3 or so questions, because remember, these are tools, visual clues, because I had a desire to make it part of my psyche, and just I desired to make it just an innate habit, if you will, because habits are the end result of our thoughts, feelings, actions, what we do every day. So it was my desire to put these tools inside of me. And so that's a challenge for each of us, is to invite you to write these down, get a red marker if you can. That's power. All kinds of science behind that, and write 2 or 3 of your favorite tools down, which are these listening tools, and even write down the blank with the heart, whatever your visual is, and practice that as well. So that's my biggest really invitation challenge for the next few days, the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, this lifetime is to take ownership of these tools. So Jim, are we excited about next week's topic?
Very, very. And it comes through that pause. It comes through that time to sit and think, so that the Spirit can come of what is a heartfelt, inspired question for that person. Particularly if we start getting good at that, they know you've just connected at their heart. When you ask an inspired question, they'll feel it. Even if it's in social media, they'll go, whoa, that's emotional, because those heartfelt ones are emotion.
Yes, which is the key to unlock those little painful places, those stubborn places. So Donna, love and light to you. Jim, love you, brother. And anybody watching this, we applaud you, because you are truly a child of God, and you are worthy of his grace, and you are an amazing magical connector and listener. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat call, same bat number, and just love and light. Thanks, Donna. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you,
you.
Robert. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Donna.